President of Husson University began his duties in 2010. That included leading efforts in academics, finances, infrastructure projects, and more. Now, after becoming the longest-serving president at any four-year college or university in Maine, President Robert Clark has announced his retirement. More than 10,000 students have graduated from the university under Clark's leadership. He even took on the classroom himself for some time as an investment professor. When TV5 asked about his tenure and how education has impacted his life, the Albion native says it guided him through every chapter: his studies, his time in the service, and his time as the president of an institution.
I think, for myself, I grew up on a farm, and education has made all the difference in what my life and my life's journey has been. And I say that to all of our incoming students, that now is not the time to give up on higher education, but maybe double down and continue that journey wherever you find yourself in terms of higher education. Find a place that fits.
Clark's career in higher education spans more than 40 years. He got his BS, BA, and MBA from the University of Maine and earned his PhD from Purdue University. Clark will officially retire in December of 2024.